Welcome to High School Backups Podcast today. This is episode 6. We are very excited today. There hasn't been a ton of news, but we've come up with some pretty good topics that we're pretty excited to talk about. We want to start off with just saying, definitely like, subscribe to the video, share with some of your friends, and definitely make sure to hit the socials. They'll be down down the description. It's important to do that. We have polls running almost daily, especially we do some topics, some NBA, some NFL. Really try to hit a little bit on everything, but we're definitely trying to keep those going. We're going to start getting our Instagram going up as well. Twitter's always popping off. Let's get right into it. So starting off with the New England news. Nothing too crazy today. Kind of some bad news on the front here. So let's just start off. Red Sox start off hot, 6-0 in spring training. Have looked kind of dog shit. Kind of awful since then. The Bruins have looked nasty since around January. Same thing with the Celtics. Bruins, however, have only acquired more people, whereas the Celtics have lost the all-important Time Lord. So he is going to be out for several weeks. Hopefully he'll be back for round 2 of the playoffs, as I think we should be able to make it through round 1 of the playoffs. Lastly, the Patriots have not had a ton of news going on. Most importantly, just today have signed Jabril Peppers. Was it yesterday? Have signed Jabril Peppers to 1 year, up to $5 million contract. So that is an important thing. I think they signed Malcolm Butler earlier this week as well. So very important stuff there. But just moving right into it, we have some March Madness updates. We're going to talk a little bit about.
Before we get into March Madness, I have one quick hockey March Madness tournament. All 5 hockey New England schools did not make the Frozen Four. The only one to win a game was Quinnipiac, representing Connecticut. But all 4 other New England, Massachusetts schools lost in the first round. They represented New England well, so we'll get them next year. New England will be in the Frozen Four next year.
They try. I did see Quinnipiac, and then they got smacked by Michigan, even though Quinnipiac almost came back. Came back at the end. So close.
That Jabril Peppers signing is an underrated move, by the way. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk that a little bit. I think Malcolm Butler is as well for us. And, of course, we're a little bit biased, so that's the best part. Again, into March Madness update. So all of our brackets, awful, trash, doggy doo-doo. We honestly... Steve tied most of us. He picked Longwood, so and that tells you how great our brackets were. The only person left with any chance in hell is this guy right up here on my screen, Jake. So we will see if he pulls out. If Duke wins, he wins. If it doesn't, it's a tie between Andrew and Austin currently. And if Austin has a chance to pull it out still. So everyone else awful, including myself. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it. Thanks, Zaga.
I mean, you know what's funny?
Thanks, Kentucky.
Quick story time. So I was down in Florida when March Madness started up, and I was really excited. I was like talking. I was down there with my girlfriend. We're like, all right, I picked Longwood. It's a dumb decision, but you know what? I feel good about it. They should be pretty good. I'm not too worried about it. Then we went off and did some stuff, and I'm like, oh, let's see how they did. Oh, they got smacked. Interesting. Well.
Picked the wrong 15 seed, dude. If you had picked St. Peter's, you would have rolled.
I know. I'm really disappointed in myself, but it's okay.
Were they 14? I think they were a 14 seed, but that doesn't.
No, they were 15.
They were 15.
Kentucky
no, Longwood was a 14. Longwood was 14.
I was gonna say.
I know my wood.
I thought they played Tennessee. I was gonna say.
I thought you meant St. Peter's. My bad.
Oh no! St. Peter's was a 15 seed. I know that.
Yeah.
They beat Kentucky. They beat my champion. Of course I know they were a 15 seed. Of course I know.
So much for winning last year.
A 2 seed broke my heart again. I'm sick of these flipping 2 seeds.
It didn't go well.
Kyle, do not worry.
We still got Nova. We still got Nova as a 2 seed going into this.
Kyle, do not worry if
Duke's a 2 seed.
Yeah. But Kyle, do not worry. If you are sad about disappointment, do not worry. The Giants will be playing football in September, so do not need to worry. You'll have plenty of disappointment.
You're 3-14.
Sterling won't be playing in January.
You want me to talk about disappointment? The Yankees are going to be playing in April. I don't have to wait till the fall to be disappointed.
No. The Yankees will be a solid 4 seed, and that's all really.
They'll be 500 at best.
Yes, and they're playing in the best division in baseball. So, and honestly, might be one of the best divisions in all of sports. So, That's a topic we've talked about before. So let's show the little bit of the schedule for today. We're gonna have some topics that are actually not going to be part of the on-screen schedule. One of those is going to be coming right up. We're going to kind of be talking about some fun stuff today, some stuff we haven't talked about, maybe some non-mainstream sports, if you will. Let's start off with Andrew. Take it away.
Oh, we got the World Cup coming up for the men's World Cup this summer, 2022 in Qatar. There are already 27 teams already in. We have last year's World Cup, last time's World Cup winner France in it. We got Brazil, England, Portugal. From North America, Canada was the first team to qualify. We have USA playing for one more matchup to get their qualification. They just need to beat Costa Rica without getting a 6-point blowout. Mexico is on the verge of either making it or not, and we'll find out. But there are 5 remaining spots left. Ghana qualified, Senegal qualified, Cameroon qualified. We got Japan, Uruguay, South Korea.
R.I.P. Italy. Italy
Yes,
lost to North Macedonia. How many people can find North Macedonia on a map? How many people? And Italy lost to them. That is ridiculous.
Probably the population of North Macedonia.
I have to say, Italy is not as once they used to be. They're not the team that they once were. The talent is there, but they're just not building enough.
In 4 years.
Them.
We got them in 4 years. We're coming back.
Andrew, just to clarify, the United States just doesn't have to lose by 6 to make it, right?
If they lose by more than 6 goals, means they have to have Mexico lose to stay in it.
Okay, so basically they just need to lose. If they lose, it has to be by 5 or less. Basically, is what we're talking about.
Yes, they have to not get Mali. They have to not get Brazil, essentially.
But it's Costa Rica. We've had some tough matchups against them. It's been like a 4-1 or like 4-2 games usually.
That's fine.
But it's nothing like sometimes we've lost against them like 2-0, so I'm not too ashamed if we lose against them, but we still have our spot.
So I don't want to jinx it because my soccer teams have not been going well, but
Italy.
Basically, they are gonna make the World Cup unless some magical nonsense happens. Basically, is what I'm hearing.
Basically, they have everything they need after taking that massive win against Panama with a hat trick from Christian Pulisic, number 10. Man's got talent. Also with the United States having more American players in Europe, it's been helpful to develop them, and we've now built a tremendous youth team to be able to compete against some of these tougher opponents, like Argentina with Lionel Messi and Portugal with Christian Pulisic and France with their youth envisioned team that decimated the World Cup last time out. So I think the U.S. has a chance this summer, but it all depends on when rosters are released, who they decide to bring, injuries that happen in the World Cup, everything when it gets closer. I think once we get closer, I think we'll probably do a bracket for them, and we'll see who we all decide to have go forward and not.
Oh, I'm excited. We'll find something. I'm ready for Mexico to go all the way. I mean, granted, we'll see.
Steve, they still have to qualify. They still have to qualify.
I mean, what was it? The last World Cup, we had a pretty huge win. I think it was over Germany. But I don't know. The one thing I am worried about is I'm just worried about Mexico playing Brazil. I just have a feeling no matter what, Brazil's going to give us trouble. But as long as we beat Argentina or Argentina loses horrifically, I'm fine. Because, sorry, Justin.
So,
thank you.
So actually, from what I've been hearing, is Argentina's a fan favorite to actually win the World Cup this year. After Lionel Messi finally won his first international trophy this past summer, he is on the verge of looking to claim a World Cup title for Argentina.
Nope, Argentina.
You know what really sucks about the World Cup this year? The World Cup, it doesn't start until November. So like the World Cup is supposed to be a summer thing to watch, but because it's in Qatar, which for people who don't know is in the middle of the desert. They have to wait until it's winter to play there.
Hey,
So
just be happy come 2026. It's going to be here in North America, be split between Canada, USA, and Mexico.
Yeah.
all in
So-
favor of buying tickets, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, they're
Aye.
going to be in Boston.
Also, the Olympics, and was
in
it
2028
in-
in Los
in-
Angeles, say
No.
aye.
6 years?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I'm telling you
Yes.
right now, boys, we can either get tickets in Baltimore, we can get tickets at Gillette. There's
Wait, it'll be
definitely-
Gillette?
It's a
Oh,
Gillette?
Oh.
in Boston.
Oh.
I'm telling you right
Let's
now,
go.
this is going to be a wonderful World Cup come 2026.
Have they
because
officially released what stadiums yet, or are those just skeptical?
Those are skeptical stadiums, but
I
they're
thought-
trying to do all like the major cities that are in the area. Like New York City is definitely going to have. Like New York will definitely host one.
What
LA
stadium in
for
New York do
sure.
you think they choose? Do you think they choose Red Bull Stadium, or do they choose
don't-
I
I think they want to go something bigger because
Yeah,
the
okay,
bigger
that
the
makes
I would
sense.
think
This is
MetLife.
World Cup, so-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's in New
MetLife,
Jersey.
it's
That's
just-
in New
it's-
Jersey.
yeah,
I
but
feel
it
like-
can hold over 100,000 people. So like,
Yeah, and
Okay.
you're getting people from all over the world coming in to the United States at this time. And
what do you
Listen.
think? Buffalo hosts it in with Orchard Park there?
Oh,
Well,
God.
that-
By that time, they may have a new stadium.
Yeah, I was gonna say. You think that will even exist
Oh,
in 4 years? So even
1.6
so,
billion. 1.6 billion.
Hey,
It'll be a big
if
one.
it happens, it happens. I mean, it'll be a sight to see, but definitely they've already said that Soldier Field in Chicago is going to be one of them. LA is definitely hosting. The only
Which
problem
stadium in
I see-
LA?
I'm
Which
not
stadium
sure
in
yet
LA?
because LA
Oh,
for the
Galaxy has a
$4
LA
billion
Galaxy has a
dollars.
team
So
out there. So
They have so many stadiums to choose from, so I'm assuming they would pick a couple in LA.
they would
Not
choose a
just
couple
one,
of them.
probably.
But the other thing is that a lot of the stadiums are turf field, and a lot of like players overseas in Europe play on more like real grass
Grass.
fields. So it's like it's a whole entire different aspect,
Is
which
Gillette
gives the
turf?
United States an advantage comes
Gillette
to
is
this
turf.
because
Gillette's
we
turf.
Gillette
are
is
used
turf?
to playing on turf at home field.
Here's the thing, though.
So-
I'm worried that if they play in New York, we're gonna be the U.S. is gonna be under fire for making people have to go to Jersey. So I think we're gonna get hit with some.
Oh my
I don't know, probably some violation of human rights, having to.
Did
go
you
to
see where the
war.
Olympics were this last winter? I don't want to hear it at all. Okay, the
Don't
New
worry
Jersey
about
is
it.
not a nuclear field. I'm just all
Listen, let me put it this way. The last time I ever watched soccer, Clint Dempsey was on the Revolution and Tim Howard was the best player on the U.S. national team. But I am
goodness.
down
Oh no,
for the
Landon
World
Donovan.
Cup.
That was a
Soccer
tremendous
has
year.
changed so much since then, Jake. Like it is
Oh
so
my
much more
gosh.
fun to watch.
It's
So
I
much
love
more fun.
I love when it's like close games where it's like 0-0 going into like the 75th minute and you're like
Yeah.
on the edge of your seat watching because you don't know and you're anticipating which team is going to mess up the most and take the lead with a 1-0 lead, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere the other team ties it up in the 89th minute and you're going into extra time. And,
World
like,
Cup
super excited
live
for
stream
this.
in November, boys.
Oh, it's definitely a possibility. I'm very excited
mean-
for the draft live stream, which is next month.
I mean,
Yeah, I
going
can't wait
into
for
it
the
as
draft.
well, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, what I love about soccer is fake injuries, like players acting, pretend like they got killed.
What?
And in today's age of memes, if Will Smith slapping somebody on the stage can create a bunch
Oh
of memes,
my god.
imagine just
Okay,
a U.S.
okay,
player
Have
flopping
you
on the
seen
ground.
the Neymar flop trend where people were just like flopping in the middle of the streets and,
Yeah.
and just like acting like they got tripped? I
Yeah.
feel like that, like World Cup memes like that are always going to be fun to watch. Like there are so many memes out there that are like
Yeah.
soccer, like the soccer world is like still bringing back up, and it's
Yeah.
like hilarious to see that.
I mean, there was
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the guy, I think he got like bumped in the chest slightly or got tripped, and he just laid down like this as he got carried out in a stretcher. It was so funny.
Well, there's plenty to talk about today, and we'll definitely be talking the World Cup as it gets closer. Hopefully, we'll have good news. Andrew, I'll ask you a question before we move on. Will the U.S. qualify? Will we know if they qualify before next podcast?
Should I believe so? I'd have to look at when the game.
If you don't know, that's fine. I don't know when it is. I would have to assume that's a week from now. It's a week next Tuesday is when we're going to film next podcast. So I'd have to assume.
Yes, I would assume they would be playing at least this weekend.
Okay, great.
Unless
So
international
Well, we'll definitely talk a little bit more, and maybe, like Andy said, it's actually a fantastic idea.
no,
Though
they
we
play
have a lot of
tomorrow.
drafts.
They play tomorrow
Okay.
night at 9.
Well,
Oh,
We'll definitely know.
Well, before this releases, we'll know. But we'll definitely talk about it a little bit next week. I do think closer to summer, when we're kind of in the summer lull of stuff, we'll definitely do a bracket for the World Cup. We'll definitely do some group stuff. I'm sure there'll be a website allows us to do
There
it.
are
So
group stages. So in the World Cup, you have to play group stage matches, and the teams with the highest points will
points or whatever.
move
Yeah.
on. Yeah, they'll move
Well,
on.
I'm sure there's a some sort of predictum way to do that. So we'll
no,
figure
there
out
is.
what the best one is. And the next topic, one of the ones that near and dear to my heart, my girlfriend was Divisions 3. First, all conference. No problem around here. So Kyle, take it away. Take it away, Kyle.
So, the second best sport on the planet, second only to hockey, of course, lacrosse, finally gets a national TV deal. I'm so excited for the PLL to be streamed on the #1 sports site in the world. PLL and ESPN agreed on I believe, 3-year deal that includes all Disney partnered sites because Disney owns everything. So that includes ESPN, ESPN2, ABC, and every single PLL game will be streamed on ESPN Plus. So I'm so excited for lacrosse to finally get. There's been a couple attempts at lacrosse to be big, but nothing has come close to the PLL. The PLL launched 3 years ago in 2019, and has since then been growing rapidly. They started out with 6 teams, is now 8 teams. It has just been growing so fast, and I'm excited for it to become probably the 6th most popular sport in America. I'm excited for it to keep climbing. So I'm ready for it.
As the only lacrosse player here.
That's not true. Wait, red flag. Excuse
I played lacrosse
me.
in the 3rd grade.
Hey, I played in high school. Get the out of here.
Okay, Kyle, you never mentioned that, dude.
What's your
You
mouth?
never mentioned that.
I played the bench, so I wasn't great, but I still played.
I tried to score on the bench.
Hey, the name of this podcast is High School Backups. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'm hyped for this. The Boston Cannons have joined the PLL. They're just the Cannons Lacrosse Club now. They don't have a city because the PLL doesn't have a city, which, by the way, is a great league setup.
So about that, there are rumors that in the next 2 to 3 years they will move to city-based clubs. But as of now, to keep growing it, like you said, it is an amazing setup the way they do it.
Because they just bounce around from city to city. It's awesome.
Amazing.
In July, the PLL All-Star Game is going to be at Gillette. I'm so amped to be there for it.
Can't
Kyle's
wait.
girlfriend
Let's go.
just bought us all tickets. Just sent Ventoed the money right before the podcast. Absolutely love it. And honestly, I'm just excited to see my boy Lyle Thompson of the Thompson Trio from the University of Albany play lacrosse on TV again, boys. He plays for my Cannons.
So good.
He plays for my Cannons.
So good.
The backstory on this kid, Lyle Thompson, he and all his brothers went to the University of Albany. They grew up in New York, I think. And so 3 of the sickest lacrosse players I've ever seen in my life.
They
Just
are insane.
Absolutely insane.
They are native Algonquin. So they play for the Algonquin national team. No, sorry, not Algonquin. Iroquois. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Iroquois national team.
I forgot what Native American.
Yeah, I knew it was one of the North New York ones. But they play for the Iroquois national team. They lived on the Iroquois reservation. That's in upstate New York, and they made it all the way to America, all the way. Like, it's so far from upstate New York. What the hell am I talking about?
Justin.
But
look up clips and insert some of the clips of these 3 guys playing together when they were at the University of Albany. Growing up watching that, you just wanted to do everything they could do.
Dude, they're disgusting.
The fastest game on 2 feet, the most exciting sport you've ever seen in your life. It's nuts.
There's a whole documentary. So
if you've never seen a game, give it a shot this summer. It is so much fun. It's so high paced. There's a lot of scoring. There's also great defense, great goalie saves. So give it a shot. It's like a great combination of soccer, hockey, kind of all mixed together, I want to say. So give it a shot if you've never watched a game. Fall in love with the sport like Jake and I did. It's so much fun to follow. So definitely give it a shot. I love that we're talking about it today.
Another thing to add to as well, I mean, one thing I like is one of the biggest issues of like, I would always want to go to an NFL game is how expensive it is. I mean, lacrosse, because it is a much smaller scale league, it's much more affordable. So, ladies and gentlemen, watching the podcast, it's much easier to be able to watch the games. And I didn't realize how intense it was until I saw, our school's Division III. It was so really exciting and a ton of fun. I wore a banana costume. It was a great time. But you're getting such great value for such a high energy sport that I wouldn't be surprised if lacrosse takes off.
Jake,
and
what were the tickets? We're on the front row. Aren't the tickets like
$56
for the first
Kyle, dead serious? They will probably want to go. So can you have Riley
text Riley?
Us? Okay. Because
text Riley right now while she's walking. I guarantee you she will buy them for you while she's walking, Molly.
I should ask. Okay. Anyways, so very excited, very exciting.
Every fan of the podcast starts texting Riley right now to buy the PLL tickets.
No, but I mean, literally one last thing. I mean, I grew up playing lacrosse. I played it from 5th grade through most of high school. I stopped playing in high school, but I still have like signed jerseys, signed lacrosse heads, lacrosse stick. I still have all of it. I absolutely love the game. I'm so excited that it's going to be on ESPN again. College lacrosse is absolutely nuts. So if you want to check out some of that, I believe they play games on ESPN sometimes anyway.
Even if you're just ESPNU. Yep.
College lacrosse is similar to college basketball, and it's just high paced all the time. Go like 20 to 15 games. Go watch it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you can, just go to local colleges. You have games and stuff. It's even I was hyped during Division III, lacrosse, and it's honestly a ton of fun, and I'm really excited.
It's not just the men's college lacrosse. The women's college lacrosse teams are insane to watch too. So good. Like these women players are insane. Like absolutely incredible. Like I wish there was like a women's lacrosse league.
Faye was a straight up MVP, dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that's Faye. It's like insane how good some of these women are.
Like I mean,
they're not human.
Like when she plays when she plays on defense, like I saw a girl 6'2", huge, going up against her. Faye just planted her feet down and was like, "No, you're not getting anywhere near the goal because I said you can't."
Keep in mind, she's 5'1". She's a short girl. And she's just
I was like, "What? It's so intense. Yeah. It's so much fun." And
then proud boyfriend.
But like the hype in the game, lacrosse. I'm really excited for to watch some lacrosse in September. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm excited. So I know a bunch of us are going in September to the playoffs. This is also we were mentioning in the All-Star games this summer as well, which I think we're going to go to. But nonetheless, moving on. Kyle also had another thing he wanted to talk about the NHL. Since we do not have a subject for it, so feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, so I just got a couple updates. First one, some sad news. The longtime owner of the Ottawa Senators passed away last night. So that's causing a little bit of issues on who's going to take over the team because he didn't have anyone he was passing the team onto. He did not have a will. So the team ownership right now is kind of up in the air for the Ottawa Senators. But rest in peace, Eugene Melnyk. He was the owner for the team, and he brought the city of Ottawa, the capital of Canada, back a hockey team. So people of Ottawa love him for that. In other news, last week we briefly mentioned that the Vegas Golden Knights traded Evgeny Dadonov to the Anaheim Ducks. At the time, it was only a rumor that the Anaheim Ducks was on Evgeny Dadonov's no trade clause. It turns out that was in fact true, that Evgeny Dadonov had the Anaheim Ducks listed on their no trade clause, and Vegas said, "I don't give a bleep," and traded him anyway. And the NHL said, "Nope, you can't do that. That's illegal." So basically, the NHL just ruled that Vegas could not trade a player to whoever they felt like it, and they had to honor the contract that both parties signed. I just can't imagine if people did that in NFL or NBA. Like, what if the Lakers just said, "You know what? I'm trading Anthony Davis to the Oklahoma City Thunder because I don't like him anymore." Like, I just can't.
With a no trade clause that says he can't go there.
Well, his
Yeah.
thing.
So-
We've done that before. The Patriots did a long time ago, 2016 season.
That doesn't surprise me.
Jamie Collins was demanding JJ Watt money after a good start to his season. He was immediately traded to the Browns for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, no, but I think he
But-
means like with a no trade clause.
But yeah, with
Yeah.
a no
So-
trade clause.
Well,
Let
it's
me
never
just put
happened
this-
before.
This is not. I will say this is not legal advice, and if you really want to know contract law, it's not. You can go find a contractual attorney for legal purposes. Breach of contract ends in lawsuits a lot of the time, so just have fun with that.
Like, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, and they announced the trade like a minute before the NHL trade deadline too. So it was like something they like tried like sliding under the cracks. Because like, at like the NHL trade deadline, like all professional sport trade deadlines are chaotic as hell. Everyone's trying to find out like all the news you can last minute. Like Twitter's going nuts. All the live streams are posting the trades are going nuts. So like, it's at the time it happened, and I was watching a live stream at work. Sorry, Dave, my boss, when he watches this. I was watching one of the live streams because it was a slow day. That's beside the point. And it was just like one of those trades that you like see that's like, oh, that's going to be meaningless. That's not going to matter. Who knew it was going to turn into this whole nonsense that they decided to just trade a player just because and not honor the contract they signed? Like, I don't know what Vegas was trying to do. Like
Trying to pull some
Anaheim.
shady stuff, dude. Shady
I
stuff.
wonder if, do you think Anaheim definitely didn't know? Like,
No, they
No,
wouldn't.
they had no idea.
like, there's no way they knew that. But like, yeah, it
Yeah,
blows my mind.
It's definitely an interesting situation, but who knows if Dadonov has he played yet since? He probably won't play for the rest of the
They've
season.
played a couple of games since then, so I would assume so.
Yeah, as we're doing this podcast, other NHL news: the Bruins are currently playing the Maple Leafs. They're down 2-1 currently. However, they are, if they win this game, which they've come back multiple times this year so far, they will essentially take over third place and actually technically in the short run be in second place in the conference. So it's all within 1 point for those three positions. So we'll see. Actually, Toronto just scored as I'm watching this. Bad luck right there. Caster curse. So it's 3-1. That's fine. Anyways, in the next news, talking about the MLB spring training. Not a lot to talk about here. Two important notes. Albert Pujols officially has gone back to the Cardinals. The legend himself has officially returned from his money-seeking conquest in LA. Whatever, the Angels. Moving over back to his homeland of the St. Louis Cardinals. So he is back. Not a lot of other important news as far as I know in the MLB. It's been pretty straightforward. Spring training, no team's been super crazy. Washington's been awful. That's really it in terms of news. Everyone else has been pretty middle of the pack. Red Sox start off 6-0, and they've been 1-5 since. So take that for what you will. But otherwise, it's been pretty chill.
It's spring training. It does not
Yeah,
matter.
it's not a lot going on. The Albert Pujols stuff was the most important thing, and we'll see. So, so moving on to what will be probably our most exciting topics of the day of what we've gone through. Does anyone have anything else before we move on to the NFL, our favorite topic?
Let's do this.
Okay, so we're going to be going through. So we have some polls we'll talk about last. I've already decided it's called podcast polls, so that's just I made that up on the point here. So we're going to be at a new section. We're going to have New England news. We're going to start with podcast polls. How we're going to end every podcast. I just made that up. So we'd already talked about it a little bit, but we're going to do let's talk general NFL news. So has it been a ton? We're going to be doing a subject called Where Will They Land? We're going to go through the existing free agents as of today, talk about where we think they're going to go. In general, key signings recently. Andy Dalton went on to, he's going to be the backup for the Saints. Thank you. For Jameis Winston. So when Jameis Winston inevitably throws 12 interceptions in the first 5 games, that's when Andy Dalton's going to take over, and then to 8, 9.
The Saints also announced today that Taysom Hill's essentially just going to move to tight end full time. Good move.
He went 7-2 last year.
No, Taysom Hill's not a starting quarterback. No, he's not.
Yeah, it's
definitely more of like
it's a whole vibe.
wild card option.
Yeah, wild card. That's it.
Sure, whatever.
He's a gadget guy, guys.
As long as Alvin Kamara goes off, that's all I care about. So
Alvin Kamara won't be playing.
Chill.
He'll
be playing.
Dude, he's literally getting sued.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Deshaun Watson also got
I was
sued.
just
Okay.
He
gonna
should be
say.
suspended too.
I
Yeah,
don't disagree with you, but Deshaun Watson stuff was way worse. Alvin Kamara just happened to assault a person. Okay. I don't. Bar fights.
He just happened to run into my fist while I was
Okay,
swinging
yeah.
it around.
Okay, here's the issue.
Any way, shape, or
Ray
form.
Rice did stuff way worse than what Alvin Kamara did. There was a bar fight
My
compared to
leg
Ray Rice.
just happened to
Ray-
be there.
All right,
I don't
well,
know
well,
how it happened.
Let's
Ray
move
Rice
on with
should
Alvin
never play in the
Kamara.
NFL again.
Yeah, we
All
only
right.
got 4 games, regardless.
All right. Well, we won't worry about Alvin Kamara. I just want to say something quick. I missed last week. I wasn't here. I just want to say something real quick. Give me a quick second. All right, Bill Belichick, come here. All right, Bill, what the hell are you doing? I just as a New England fan, I'm seeing like a lot of the AFC teams are getting really good. Like Russ is on the Broncos, crazy. J.C. Jackson is on a super team. And the Dolphins just got Tyreek Hill. Devontae Adams is a Raider. Guess what? We have to play them this year. And what are you doing? What did you do? Nothing.
No, you got your Bill
Nothing at
Peppers.
all.
Hey, you went and got your
No,
Bill
no,
Peppers.
I don't want to hear it. He's old. I don't care. He'll play
Your Bill
zone.
Peppers is 28.
Nuh-uh. He's gonna play zone. I don't care about zone. We lost our best player in the team.
If a 28-year-old is old, you're almost that age yourself, bud.
Yeah, so you just called yourself old.
Wait,
Also, they
you're
sound
I've been
almost
called old
old.
forever. It doesn't matter.
also sound Malcolm Butler, who was a rookie in 2013, which means he's like 30. So he's not that old.
Malcolm
31.
Butler on the
He's
goal.
31.
Here's the thing, though. We have players that are be great for zone defense. There's rate predictions that we're probably be playing zone with all these speedy receivers. But I'm talking now. Let's get to the offense. What? Ty Montgomery? Who cares? You know who is better than Ty Montgomery? Allen Robinson, Odell. If we get him for like half a season because he's gonna be injured. Let's see. We could have traded for Tyreek Hill. Like, why are we going for Metcalf? I see all the time the Patriots are interested in a wide receiver. That's great. You know what happened? We didn't sign them because Bill Belichick is cheap.
Okay, hold up. No. Bill Belichick went after Allen Robinson, and LA
That's
just
true.
made a better offer.
No one wants to come here because
That's not true.
That's just false.
Actually,
They do.
nowadays
It-
people
Okay,
want to come here.
No. Okay, so here's the thing. Bill went all out last year, and you're seeing the consequences of it now, where we spent a ton of money and made the playoffs. People are forgetting that the Patriots made the playoffs.
Cool, and we
Uh,
lost
two-
47-7.
I don't care. 2 years after losing the GOAT, the Patriots are back in the playoffs. You want to know how many
They
teams
won't
would
be this
kill for that situation? Kyle, shut up.
Hey, I'm
Kyle, your
sorry.
Giants are never going to
They
make it to the
won't
playoffs.
be.
Like,
I know the
no, but
Giants
seriously.
will. We're not arguing the Giants will be good. I know they're gonna go 4-12. I
Don't
don't
talk about the
care.
Patriots.
4
They're
and
not making the
13.
playoffs.
They're 13. They're
No, but
17
why-
games.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The
Seriously.
Patriots will not make the playoffs.
Do you know
They
how many teams
will.
would? Do you know how many teams would kill to be in our situation? We won 6 Super Bowls in
What?
20 years.
Yeah, I
lost
know.
the guy who
Listen.
mastered the game of football, and 2
Yep.
years later we were back in the playoffs.
Talking
Everybody calm
from-
down.
as
Plus
a
the cap
Yankees
space is going
fan-
up.
listen,
Hold
all
on,
right,
hold on. I'm not done. I'm
One
not
second,
done.
one second.
Plus the cap is going up 100 million next year. Everybody calm down. We're gonna have money next year. You think Bill isn't gonna spend it? Bill is gonna
Probably not.
spend it everywhere. He's gonna be like, you get a contract. You get it. Hell, Nick's gonna get a contract.
But my problem is, it's this. Here's the thing: going into next year, unless we get a home run in the draft, a lot of the top receivers are locked up. Like they're in contract. We're gonna need like Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill to do nothing.
Very likely in a deep receiver class, the Patriots are gonna get a very good one. If he's not a number one, he's gonna be a very good number two.
Still need to sign someone, but that's regardless of the point, and we're going to get to that right now. So, truthfully, that's my thought. I think the Patriots need to sign a number one, and then also, and I'll take a Jarvis Landry. I'll take a low end number one. I'll take a Jarvis Landry as number one, but and then you're going to keep Kendrick Bourne, and then have a bunch of other complementary pieces. So,
will
let's jump
say-
right into this.
Quickly, I will say Calvin really getting suspended all of next year. I think threw a huge
Huge wrench.
monkey wrench into what we were doing. Yeah.
I think that's fair because I think the Patriots are going to go for him. So let's go through this list. This is in no specific order. I went through it. Jarvis Landry's not on this list. We can talk about him, but we're going to try and go through this pretty quickly because then we have our polls to get through, and then we'll call it a day. So let's see how we're doing. Okay. So Stephon Gilmore, I actually, and this isn't any bias, he could end up in a lot of places. However, I would not be surprised by any means if the Patriots bring him back because they can probably get him on a good deal at this point. However, where will he land? I would not be surprised if someone like the Chiefs put out a good deal for him or someone like one of these other contender teams. The Bills don't really need him. I could see the Bengals maybe getting him, although they did re-sign Eli Apple, which is its own issue. So I could very well see him go into that team. So he'll probably go to a contender team. Won't be surprised Chiefs, maybe Bengals, but Patriots could very well bring him back. They didn't really end on that sour of a note because no one wanted to pay him anyway. So we're going to go quickly, alphabetical order. We're just going to go through, throw a little explanation in there. I'll try and go through this quickly. Andrew.
I think he's gonna go to the Raiders. Bobby Wagner. I'm not really sure because I don't know how he would fit into any of the schemes right now for any of the teams because a lot of teams are kind of pretty much locked up on middle linebacker. But if I would say anything, I'd say the Cardinals. Even though they have Isaiah Simmons and who they drafted last year, I can't remember his name. Tyrann Mathieu. I think goes back to the
Zaven Collins, by the way.
It's Zaven Collins. Okay,
I think so.
I think Beckham. I'd like to see him in a Patriots uniform, but I think he's going to be asking for too much money come this season. Akeem Hicks, I think he stays a free agent. Clowney, I think he'll sign with the Patriots. Not sure on Devon Brown. Julio may end up back in Atlanta because they do need a new wide receiver one option. Just because of the fact that Ridley's out and they got really no receiving core down there except for Pitts. Eric Fisher could really end up anywhere. Any team could really use a decently strong O lineman in him. Patrick Peterson, I'm thinking Carolina for him. A great fit for him in that scheme of a defense. Gronk, I think he'll end up with the Bengals.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it. Go for it, Jake.
Okay, so I'm running down real quick. Gilmore's either going to end up on the Raiders or the Patriots. It's probably the Raiders. They're showing the most interest in him like less than a week ago. Bobby Wagner, I actually think he's going to end up on the Eagles. It's a team that needs linebacker help and it would be a Band-Aid for them for at least a few years. I think he's still got 3 or 4 real good football years left in him. Tyrann Mathieu, that's a tough one because, I mean, not a lot of teams are going to expunge that much money for a safety. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on a contender, probably Buffalo, maybe Cincinnati. Odell Beckham Jr., probably, honestly, as biased as it's going to sound, I think he probably ends up in a Patriots uniform just because there doesn't seem to be any other interest and the Rams can't pay him what he wants. Akeem Hicks is probably going to end up on the Cowboys. I know a few days ago that they were probably the leader to get him. Jadeveon Clowney, again, this is a hard one because he gets random contracts every year from random teams. So it's one of those players that is hard to predict. But again, it's got to be a contender, maybe Cincinnati. Dwayne Brown, I'm actually not sure. I know the Panthers were pursuing him a couple days ago, so that's probably going to be where I project him to go. Julio's going to the Bucs. When Tom Brady recruits you, you got to just go with it. And I think at this point, Julio's looking for a ring. Eric Fisher, depends on who needs an aging left tackle, a Band-Aid. And I'm not aware of many teams that would take a Band-Aid left tackle right now. I mean, if you're looking for a left tackle, if you're looking for one of those guys, you look for long-term solutions. Patrick Peterson, I actually think Andrew's Carolina prediction was very good on that one. And then Gronk's going back to the Bucs too.
All right, Justin.
Alrighty. So I actually didn't even know Rob was a free agent, so that was interesting to find out about. But Stephon Gilmore, I can see still being with the Carolina. Bobby Wagner. Actually, just skip over to the ones I know. I agree. I'm surprised. I would be surprised if Odell left after. I think he was the one that got. No, he didn't get Super Bowl MVP, but he was on the winning team, so I would still think they would want to hold on to him. I agree with Jake on Julio Jones for the Bucs, and I don't think anyone is gonna offer Gronk a deal because of how much he gets injured, other than Bucs themselves.
Like it. Go ahead, Kyle.
So, I'm just gonna totally wing this. I have absolutely no idea who needs what or where they're interested in. So I'm just gonna go with my gut.
That was my issue as well.
Stephon Gilmore, yeah, I've heard rumors he'll go to the Raiders, so sure, he'll become a Raider. Bobby Wagner, probably a Charger. I'll stick with that. Tyrann Mathieu, let me pick a random team. You know, with my luck, he'll end up somewhere playing in the NFC East, so he'll be a Cowboy. Now, Odell Beckham. Let's see, what team needs a wide receiver? He won't be in New England. That's not happening. Maybe Chicago with Justin Fields. I don't think they really need him, but I could see that happening. Keem Hicks. Let me pick the most random team out there I can go with. You know what? Jacksonville likes to spend money this offseason. I'll go with Keem Hicks going to Jacksonville. J. Devon Clowney.
Wow.
What's a team not?
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm botching that. I'm so bad. I'll just pick Green Bay. I have no idea. I have absolutely no preparation for this. Dwayne Brown, you know what? For fun, Miami. Sure. Julio.
That's a good guess.
Probably Julio will probably be in Tampa. Eric Fisher. I don't know. Arizona. I got nothing. I have no idea. Patrick Peterson. I see Vikings uniform on the screen. So yeah, Patrick Peterson's going to Minnesota, and Rob Gronkowski. He will probably be a Buccaneer again. I don't see him ever playing another football game without Tom Brady. So yeah.
Well, I guess I have the second or close
Those
to the
were
most educated version of this. Okay. I guess I'm with Jake on this one. So, Stephon Gilmore, as much as I'd love seeing back in the Patriots uniform, and I said that before, he probably will go to Oakland. I think he wants to go to a contender. I think he wants to get paid. Las Vegas. Same thing. Bobby Wagner. Actually, the Chargers thing was interesting because they just got Khalil Mack. However, they do have, I think his name's Nwosu, who's actually disgusting over there. So, I don't think they'll need him.
They also
Bobby
drafted
Wagner.
Ken Murray a couple years ago.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Bobby Wagner at this point in his career, he's got a Super Bowl. Maybe he probably wants to win another one. Actually, low-key contender pick might be Tampa. That could be very interesting for him. Go and play with some of those guys over there. He would be the third guy, though, because of Devin White and Levante David. So he would be third guy, so that could be interesting. But he'll probably go somewhere in the contender range of things. Actually, he'll go to Arizona, and that's going to be your current thing. Tyrann Mathieu, Arizona. I think Arizona's going to load up through the rest of this offseason. Odell, I want to say Patriots, but I won't go Homer version here. However, I do think he will go to a contender. And if I had to choose, I actually think he's going to go back to the Browns. He doesn't have Baker, so I think he'll go and play with Deshaun whenever Deshaun's back. Akeem Hicks actually gets eventually. I think Akeem Hicks is going to go back to the Eagles. If not, he goes to the Cowboys. I think that was a good pick by Jake. Jadeveon Clowney is going to the Cardinals. Why? Because he always signs in weird places. They lost Chandler Jones. He is going to sit across J.J. Watt over there, and I think it's going to be nasty. Two old teammates are going to reunite at weird points in their career. Dwayne Brown, a great offensive lineman. A lot of the places that need offensive linemen still have fixed up, such as Cincinnati. However, the Bucks need a lot of help. So I think Dwayne Brown or Eric Fisher go to the Bucks. The other one could go anywhere. Julio Jones will not go to the Buccaneers. Why? He would at best be the third wide receiver. They signed Russell Gage, who had a nasty season last year, is a great number 3 and a good number 2. Julio will go to a weird contender team that doesn't really make much sense, but for him will make sense. Julio's going to Arizona. So it'll be an interesting Arizona. I think it's going to load up on some of these last guys. Patrick Peterson, he was played for the Vikings last year. He will not go there. I do think that certain teams, such as a Bengals, could use someone like that. I think he could go to the Bengals there. Gronk will go back to the Bucks. I don't see Gronk playing with anyone other than Tom Brady. Once he does, he retires. So I just don't see him going anywhere else. Although I know the Bills were on that. If he was going to go to the Bills, he would have already signed. Honestly, in my head. So, and why the heck would he come back to the North? So, yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Alrighty. Well, Stephon Gilmore, I'm actually kind of leaning towards going to the Bengals. I have a feeling they're going to want somebody to kind of lock it down with Eli Apple, or at least to some extent give Eli Apple some help. He definitely was not good at all against Cooper Kupp. Granted, no corner really is. Bobby Wagner, I actually see him going to the Chiefs. With Tyrann Mathieu gone, they need a leader on defense, and they could use a lot of help at linebacker. So I kind of like Bobby Wagner kind of holding on the fort with communication in the middle. Then I got to go with, Tyrann Mathieu. This one's going to be really tough, but I got to go with, he's going to go to Arizona. I think locking down that secondary and how versatile Tyrann can be, I could see them trying to bring him back. Odell Beckham, I see him not getting signed for a while because of injuries, and he's going to be a Patriot, realistically. Akeem Hicks, I like the Cowboys picking him up, maybe to kind of help their defense a little bit. Jadeveon Clowney, I don't think he's going to a contender. I don't think a contender really wants him. I see him going to like the Jaguars because I don't know. I honestly see him going to a team that will give him some money, but I don't think a contender would really want to potentially put in money. And they put in money that Jadeveon wants with him being injured. Duane Brown, he's a good offensive lineman. I kind of like Dallas picking him up, maybe moving him to, I think, what is he? Was he left or right tackle?
Left.
Depending on
He's left.
He's left.
Seattle's left.
I could see him honestly moving to left. Maybe they might push him to right tackle just to give Dak Prescott a little bit of help. He's not going to have a lot of great receivers to throw to. He's just CeeDee Lamb, so a little extra protection would be good. Let's see. Julio Jones. I think Green Bay, Rodgers can be like, I'm going to throw to. It's like, all right, cool. Well, because you're selfish and want money, we'll give you this injured receiver on a discount. So Julio Jones, I think, is going to go to Green Bay. Eric Fisher, I like the Bucks picking him up. Maybe sliding him to the right side because I know whoever they have now at 72, he was beat a lot against the Rams. So they might have Eric Fisher to get a little bit of veteran help to that offensive line. Patrick Peterson, honestly, I feel like he's going to sign a cheap deal with the Chiefs. The Chiefs could use someone to pick up at corner because their defense never isn't that great. They lost Ward, their one of their top corners, and then Rob Gronkowski is going to sign with the Bucks after OTAs and minicamp so that he doesn't have to do that much work.
That's funny. That's a fair point. I like that point, Steve. And does anyone else have any other input or opinions on it? The only people there's a few free agents on this, like Jarvis Landry's one. He could go really anywhere. Although I would love for him to be a Patriot just as much as Odell.
Talks with him. Rumor talks that he may just from his camp that he may return to the Browns again.
I could very well see it. He's gonna hopefully, everything goes, and Deshaun isn't as guilty as he may or may not be. Then he'll return to play eventually. I'm sure he'll be suspended for at least a few games. So
who said that Odell was gonna go to the Browns?
I did. If he's not the Patriots, the Browns.
Well, why do you say that? They already have Cooper, and then if Landry does come back, how does that play into effect?
I'm not assuming Landry's gonna come back. I think he wants to play with Amari. I think it's a simple thing. He wants to play with Amari and Deshaun. He wants to play with the most skilled quarterback he's ever played with. No offense, Matt Stafford. So I think that's a simple part of it. So moving on to the last section of the day and what will end everything, we're going to have a little podcast. Everyone likes podcast polls. And then you click it and then boom, podcast. So that's a little song.
Jingle.
So we're going to do
our polls are running. Please catch our polls. They are running away.
Yes, please catch them. Before that, we had our most popular poll with surprising results. So we're going to talk about each of these a little bit to end off today. So let's just go. We're going to do the NFL ones first, then we'll talk the two NBA ones. So best free agency trade move thus far. We had J.C. Jackson to the Chargers, Khalil Mack to the Chargers, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, St. Adams to the Raiders. As you can see, Davante Adams had it pretty clearly. So although I tend to agree a little bit, that Russell Wilson trade is way bigger of an upgrade than the Raiders. I
so disagree with this because Russell. Here's the thing: Davante Adams is an incredible receiver. That is very true. But I mean, that's a huge cap hit he's gonna make. But realistically, even just signing someone cheaper like a Mike Williams or even throwing like Julio in there, someone on the cheaper side despite injury, that can still complement Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller well. Russell Wilson, I view this similar to Brady going to the Bucs a couple years ago because they have very good receivers. They have a great rookie running back, and they had a top 5 scoring defense. They have a very good team they can beat any team any week, even with Teddy Bridgewater. And I think it was 7 of their losses were 1 possession games. Now you have somebody like Russell Wilson. I think that's the biggest move of this entire offseason. Because Russell Wilson is so much more clutch and so underrated. Even though we praise him or whatnot, I think this Russell Wilson trade is so underrated because Broncos are going to win the division for sure.
Okay, here's why I disagree with both of you. In 3 of these moves, they were trades. You had to give up valuable pieces for them. Not saying they weren't worth it. You had to give up valuable pieces. Russell Wilson and Davante Adams demanded high draft capital. Russell Wilson also commanded a Noah Fant trade that I don't think is wise. I really like Noah Fant as a tight end. J.C. Jackson is absolutely the best move on this list. First, you didn't have to give up any capital for him. Second, you're now in a division with Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, and Pat Mahomes. You want to know what you're going to need to win that division? Great secondary play and guys who can go get the ball when they're on defense. J.C. Jackson brings both of them. I mean, he's the league leader in interceptions over the last 3 years with 25 or 26 of them. I genuinely think the value that JC adds to that defense, especially going along with Nick Bosa and Khalil Mack, is it Nick or Joey in Los Angeles? Sorry. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. I think those three are going to force a lot. And JC Jackson not having to give up any capital for him, I think just makes the moves that much better.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Jake. And so some of these polls are biased. We must admit, such as the next one here is probably a little bit biased, although probably true. The best team to not win a Super Bowl. So, leading off 2007 Patriots. I mean, consider one of the.
There are too many votes there for that to be biased.
Yeah, that's true. 58 votes is a lot. 2007 Patriots. They were probably the best offensive. Well, if you could call them the greatest show on turf, you would. But there's another team that took that. They were probably the most fun team to watch for all of us, and I'm sure for other people, even non-Patriots fans. In fact, it's probably the least fun team to watch. And honestly, like the 2001 Rams. I mean, the Patriots beat them, so that's the greatest show on turf right there. And then you have the Vikings and the 49ers, who are both just nasty teams in their own right. Was Steve Young's 49ers. And the Vikings in '98 was at Culpepper.
That was Chris Carter, Randy Moss, and Dante Culpepper.
Oh my God, that's a gross team. So, well, it's funny how Randy Moss is on two of these teams. So that gives that boy was cursed. He just heard every reason couldn't close the deal. But honestly, all these teams are great. I think it's fair. Your Patriots are 16-0. Kind of makes sense, but it's a good debate.
I was a little surprised at how few votes the 2001 Rams got, just because I remember all the hype around that team during that time. Like, don't get me wrong, I know the 1998 Vikings were an absolute unit to mess with, considering their offense could put up 49 points in a half. But I expected the 2007 Patriots to win this. I mean, they went 16-0. They should have won that Super Bowl, but for a ridiculous helmet catch.
Could all of you gentlemen remind me which lovely team?
Hey Kyle.
That 2007 Patriots?
Hey Kyle.
You weren't a Giants fan. You weren't a Giants fan.
You were a Patriots fan.
I also wasn't a football fan.
That's fine. You are a Giants fan established 2021. Okay, I don't want to hear any history before that.
I just want to hear.
No. All I want you to hear is the fact that all that matters is from when you start being a fan to now. I've been a fan for my whole life.
That's great for them. But you sound like a Dallas Cowboys fan who have done anything in 20 years. You know what else?
Listen, I never say it's our year. I'm not going to go into 2022 saying, "Oh, it's our year. Oh, it's our year." I know flat out we probably won't win a fucking game. I'm not an idiot.
No, we don't do. Celebrate when a pig finds a truffle. If a pig finds a truffle, I'm not throwing in a parade. It doesn't matter. Eli Manning is not a Hall of Famer.
I don't disagree with you.
No, Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer.
No.
I was hoping that'd be more controversial. Dang it.
Yes, Jake.
Yes, Kyle. That terrific New York Giants defense beat the New England Patriots.
Michael Strahan, the legend.
2011.
Hey, doesn't matter. It's amazing. That's great defense. Defense has won championships for so many teams.
Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. Just on the same page. He won 2 Super Bowls. He is a Hall of Famer. Yes,
I think he's a Hall of very good.
Yeah,
his brother did better.
I think he is a Hall of very good. You look at his last 5 seasons as a starter in New York, and I know he didn't have a lot of great talent around him, but that is still not Hall of Fame level quarterback play.
I still think he'll make it.
Very good.
I think there's other people who are not as good who made it.
No, I agree. He probably will be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he should. I think he's a Hall of very.
I'm with Kyle there.
Talk a little bit more into kind of if, ands, or buts here. Will Tyreek Hill miss Mahomes more, or will Mahomes miss Tyreek more, or even? Most of the people agreed with myself that Tyreek will miss Pat more. I think that having someone like Patrick Mahomes to throw you the ball is going to be exponentially more important than having he's going to have Tua now. Tua can hit you in the chest, but Tua's not going to throw it up and give you a chance at something great.
No.
Like that's not what Tua does.
So I clearly disagree with you. I voted for Pat Mrs. Tyreek Moore. Because right now, who does he have to throw the ball to besides Travis Kelce? If you want to tell me Mecole Hardman is a wide receiver 1 in the NFL, you're nuts.
He's got Juju.
Juju's
have
not a wide
Juju.
Juju's not a wide receiver 1 either. His best years are behind him. He can go make more TikTok for Jackson Mahomes. All right.
They're drafting wide receiver 1.
Again, they pick at 29 and 30. They'll be lucky if one of the better ones is still around. The best one that's going to be around when they pick is Christian Watson unless they move up. So my thing about it is you're not replacing Tyreek Hill. Don't get me wrong. You can't replace Patrick Mahomes, but I think Tyreek Hill is in a better situation with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki than Pat Mahomes is with just throwing to Travis Kelce.
So
you can throw Tyreek a slant, and he's going to turn it into an 80-yard gain. You can't throw the ball downfield to Mecole Hardman and trust it like he's going to catch the ball like Tyreek did. It's just not.
I originally agreed with you, Jake, and I did say when this poll went on Twitter, I did originally say Pat Mrs. Tyreek Moore. And I agree with you that Mecole Hardman is not a number 1, but the more I started looking at like mock drafts, I could really see the Chiefs trading up, especially with a couple of the picks they got in that Tyreek Hill trade to get one of the better wide receivers that are available in the draft. So like right now, if it were to stand right now, if the Chiefs don't make any moves, and if it were right now, I do think Mahomes will miss Tyreek Moore. But in the long run, I think it's going to be Tyreek missing Pat Moore just because Tua is not Patrick Mahomes. There's no quarterback in the league right now that is Patrick Mahomes.
My only thing is though, you have one of the smartest offensive coaches with Andy Reid. He is very, very good at figuring it out offensively when they need to. And I'd say, I mean, Pat Mahomes will miss him, but I think if Pat Mahomes doesn't try to play the phenomenal big throw kind of guy that he is, if he tries to be quick and efficient, like, screens, dumps, through the middle, that kind of stuff. Like if he can throw a little bit safer and not so as dynamic, I think he'll just be fine. Tyreek Hill, he's going to be a gadget guy, but it's going to happen that he's going to get some big breaks, and Tua's not going to be able to throw it down the field. I don't know. I think just Tyreek Hill is just going to miss it just a little bit more as long as Patrick Mahomes plays smarter at quarterback.
So I think the thing we're also missing here is that the Miami Dolphins have a new coach coming over from the San Francisco 49ers who's already said he's using Tyreek in that Deebo Samuel role. So Tyreek's touches are only going up. This man's going to have a lot of fun playing Deebo Samuel for the Miami Dolphins. He's a faster Deebo Samuel, mind you. He may not be as naturally running back style that Deebo is, because Deebo literally looks like a running back every time he touches the ball out of the backfield. It's nuts. But is Tyreek going to miss some of those big plays? Yes. But Tyreek's going to have a lot of fun playing the Deebo Samuel role in Miami.
Yeah, but Tua isn't the same. So like, yeah, the coach has the skill to make the plays, but does the quarterback have the skill to be what they need? Like, I don't think Tua is as great as Jimmy Garoppolo. So yeah, I really like.
Actually, here's something interesting. They don't have a lot of picks left, but maybe they try to throw something together. Maybe they might make a case to try to get Jimmy Garoppolo from the 49ers if the Niners get desperate to send him off.
I think they're sticking with Tua. I don't understand the undeterred loyal.
They're sticking with Tua.
I don't understand the undeterred this is our guy. Don't get me wrong, I was the guy up here last week screaming loyalty to Baker, but Tua hasn't proven that he's even Baker level quarterback yet. Tua's still got time to prove that he can be, but I don't think you should count out Tua yet. I really don't.
No, and he may surprise me this year. This is the best offensive talent around him he's had since he started 2 years ago. So he might very well surprise me. I just don't think the product on the field that he has put out there in these couple years that he's played has really shown that he's better than even Jimmy Garoppolo, who had Deebo Samuel and used that role. So Tyreek
really
probably will be that Deebo Samuel role. But I love Tua. I think Tua is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league right now. I love his style of play. I just don't think he's good enough to. I just don't think he's going to be what Miami needs to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. What I think is that if you watch Tua in college, the way he played, they are trying to build an offense that can comprehend what he did in college. Adding Tyreek and having Waddle out there brings back the speedy receivers that he had when he was in college. That is what they want to do. And that is what they were believing that they can pull off right now in Miami. I think the trade that they made for Tyreek was great. I think now that he has all this talent around him, as compared to the past 2 years when he first started out, I think the acquisition of Waddle last year in the draft was perfect for him. They added him into the scheme that he needed someone that he knew that he can consistently throw a ball to. And now adding Tyreek for more speed on the outside adds that effect. And you still have Gaskin and who else did they sign? Raheem Mostert. Like
a lot of speed.
That team is already looking like an Alabama college team again. And Tua is going to run that team like he did with Saban.
Dude, with Raheem Mostert, they literally look like a track team.
It's going to be interesting. The Patriots have all the speed to keep up with it. So we'll go through this last one pretty quickly because it's kind of a meme. But the best quarterback in the 2022 draft class.
Hold on, I've got this.
Okay, go ahead. Feel free.
NFL Twitter's on crack. It's Malik Willis. I don't know how anybody could think Matt Corral is better than Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett. Just watch the film. The man runs an RPO offense where he goes one read and then takes off. Malik Willis has run a pro system with a spread. Kenny Pickett literally looks like the most pro-ready quarterback of the day. He's going to be drafted probably the second quarterback off the board. I have no idea where this came from, and I have no idea how many Matt Corral fans are out there, but you're wrong. I've watched all the tape. I put Desmond Ridder up here because a lot of people like Desmond Ridder. I think he's literally the 8th best QB in the class. I'm surprised he even got a vote out of these 4. But Malik Willis is quite clearly, but it's leaps and bounds. At the beginning of the film, I didn't think it was. But every time I watched Malik Willis, I came away more and more impressed. He's athletic. He's got a giant arm, and his mind for the game is ridiculous. Plus, if you watched him at his pro day, he's out there having fun. He looks like a team leader in one of the more high-pressured situations ever been in. He's out there smiling and laughing with his teammates and quite literally said, quote unquote, this day isn't about me. I'm happy that my teammates get to be seen by NFL scouts so they can get drafted in a few years. That is the dude I want. NFL Twitter, I don't know what this was, but it's awful. Yeah. Matt Corral is not the best quarterback in this class. He's QB3 at best.
I don't know, but I think about I don't know. Whenever I look at kind of the high prospect coming out of college for the NFL draft, I know if you were to break down all the first-round quarterbacks taken in the last couple of years, you'll find that it's like more than 50% are absolute busts than anything. So it's really hard to. I mean, look at Johnny Manziel. Everyone was really excited when he came into the league. It was incredibly hyped, and as it turns out, he can't even play for a Canada League. He can't even start for them. So I always take top prospects with a grain of salt because at the same time, we took an undrafted corner, J.C. Jackson, and now he's arguably the best corner in the league. So I don't know. I think, and you look at Trevor Lawrence. He didn't have a good team. We'll give it that. But at the same time, he at one point went like 7 weeks without throwing a touchdown. So it's hard to really gauge the success of a quarterback until they play in the NFL because it's just two different things.
I agree with you more, Steve, and that's where it's all a toss-up. Bruins are currently down 4-1, so smile. Anyways,
dude, stop looking at the game.
I just looked right now. I haven't looked in a while. So,
jeez, how much time is left?
It's halfway through the second period, so plenty of time for them to come back and show the Toronto weather butt cheeks. So, anyways. The other 2 polls we had, not necessarily important, it's a little MJ versus LeBron debate. That's still always and forever going to be debated, but MJ took the cake. And we also looked at who do you think is going to win the finals. Definitely very biased. I'm a little bit weird without, but Celtics definitely went down. So like 14 people voted on that. Definitely a little biased towards the Celtics. But no one voted the Warriors, which is a meme and a half because they have a really good chance this year. But anyone else have any other topics or anything else they want to talk about today on week number 6?
Grizzlies are gonna make the playoffs.
Yo, Raptors are gonna make a good run. I'm just saying, Raptors are gonna make a pretty good run.
Raptors are not great. Okay.
Ace is not great.
Thanks everyone for watching today. Watching episode number 6. It was a great time talking. We talked about some more fun stuff today, and of course, we always like to talk about the NFL. It's a big one for us. It'll always be a main subject. But thank everyone for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family. Definitely check out the socials in the description. We're very active in those, so make sure to do that. Feel free to comment, or definitely feel free to leave any comments on our Twitter posts or Instagram posts. Let us know how you feel. Let us know if we're absolute awful at our takes or if you think that we're right. Because I know for most of us, other than Kyle, we're right. And for Kyle, he gets one right every year or so. Devontae Adams.
That's all that counts. That's all that counts.
Once every year. So thank you guys for watching. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you guys again.